globalization. The goal today is just to kind of look at the effects of globalization and kind of the controversy surrounding it, the people for it and those against it. I'm sure you guys have heard a lot. You've heard that word probably a lot, globalization. Does anybody have like a good definition for it? Yes, define it. No one? What do you guys think? I mean, obviously it's about the globe.
So like world issues and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely incorporates a lot of different world issues, the kind of things that affect everyone. Outsourcing is definitely part of it when you look at economic globalization, yeah.
How does that say economic?
Yeah, economic, like the trade between like China and stuff like that. Yeah, all that's included. It's kind of a really broad definition. Basically the movement of people and ideas and products across the world. So it's kind of anything that involves more than one country interacting with each other. One common misconception about it is that it's a recent event. A lot of people think it's just happened in the last 20 years or something, but it's kind of always been occurring. It's just on a very small scale and like very slow. So you guys heard of like the Silk Road? You guys heard that? That's kind of a form of globalization. It's just not the way we think of it nowadays, because we look at modern globalization as kind of this like technological and communication revolution that we're seeing, where you can communicate with people across the world and there's just like a 2-second delay or something. So as we said before, there's different types of it. It includes like economic is obviously the most common one. You can see like trade between us and China, or you know, like we send a lot of products overseas as well. We have kind of a lot of technology here. So it's all those different things within business and trade. But there's also the political aspect of it. So you guys know about the UN, you know, all these different countries coming together. That's also political globalization. So different countries working together to resolve political issues. The last one would be cultural. So this includes like immigration, and you guys learn about different cultures and, you know, like religion and food. All that's included in culture. And you look at America now, it's definitely a melting pot of all those different cultures coming together. So as we said, like the effects is an increase in trade, communication, immigration, and cultural diversity. So there's a lot of different aspects of it. It's kind of a really big issue, and a lot of the controversial issues you guys have looked at are kind of included inside of it. One of the big issues is a lot of people argue that it's not really globalization at all. It's not like every country's coming together equally and blending together, but rather America kind of, you know, stretching out and taking over different parts of the world. You guys probably have seen this, where you see, you know, McDonald's or Nike or something all over the world. And these mega corporations that are American, and they're spreading, you know, to different countries. One thing to note is that it's not just a one-way street. There's a lot of influence coming back towards us. One good thing to look at is, like, you know, you look 20 years ago, there's probably no sushi restaurants in America. I mean, there may have been some in California, I guess, but nothing like on the scale we have now. And that's just kind of a, you know, example of how culture is coming back to America. All right, so here's some pictures. There's McDonald's in Japan, I believe. See that? Coke in China. And this one I thought was interesting. It's a McDonald's in Saudi Arabia, which, you know, there's a lot of anti-American and anti-Western, you know, views in Saudi Arabia, but they still have McDonald's, which I thought was kind of weird, because it's McDonald's and it's everywhere. So there's a lot of benefits that come from globalization. Can you guys think of any that might be a reason for a sort of global community? Yeah.
People are more likely to help each other.
Yeah, it's definitely a big one. There's you know, these ideas of how to help people, and you have the UN that gets a lot of aid to different countries. That's a definitely good one. Good one? Oh, okay. So there's a lot. Obviously, you can start with technology spreading out throughout the globe. The economic opportunity, so different countries can get involved in different aspects of the economy that they wouldn't have been otherwise. Immigration is a big one. Look at people coming to America from all over the world. We always think of immigration as just Mexico, but you look at like countries in Eastern Europe are coming to America a lot. these different things can improve our global community. On the other side of it, there's also arguments against it. Can you guys think of any reasons why people would be against this sort of like global economy, global culture? I mean, you guys have these foreign policy controversies you guys are working on. Right? This might fit into this category. Yeah.
Less American jobs.
Yeah, that's definitely, from the American perspective, we see a lot of jobs being sent overseas or just basically losing them. Any others? So the first one is kind of like, it's harmful to the environment. Obviously, as countries get more developed, they're using a lot more natural resources, especially oil. They're shipping it across the ocean. You look at China, they're building cars, people are driving cars, and the emissions are going way up. And that has to do with developing different countries, but it's also globalization as well. Probably the biggest one, you guys probably knew it, didn't think of it, is exploitation of labor. You look at China, and obviously they have unfair labor practices. When you heard during the election, everyone called China cheaters, you know. That was basically what they were talking about, is that they use their people in order to get an economic advantage. As we said, it hurts American jobs, and also the loss of cultural identity. They feel like America's kind of taking over everyone else's culture and destroying it, which you can look at it whatever way you want, but is it blending or destroying? And I guess it's kind of doing both. And so I don't know if you guys can see this cartoon. It's just got a factory leaving for China, and I believe it's just an office building going to India, which kind of represents kind of IT jobs or call centers going to India. All right. So do you guys kind of feel like globalization is more of Americanization, or do you feel like all countries have kind of an equal opportunity? What do you guys think? Yeah.
As a global superpower, I think we're overpowering them as more than we should, kind of ruining their culture.
Yeah, we're definitely spreading our way of life. Obviously, we think it's best, but we kind of impose it on other countries. Anybody else? Yeah.
What about everything you buy is made in China? Isn't that kind of,
Right.
that's not just us getting a benefit?
Yeah, it's definitely not, one winner in this. I mean, we're obviously losing as far as the trade deficit. You guys heard about the trade deficit? You guys know what that is? Okay, yeah. So when we talk about Americanization, it's not always America coming out on top. So yeah, going into what we just said, do you think everyone's benefiting from this? Who do you think isn't benefiting? Shaking your head.
Well, I don't think everybody's benefiting. Like, maybe smaller countries that don't have a say, really, they're just taking it and not really spreading it almost.
Right.
I think that like some countries like us are benefiting from it and aren't at the same time, because we're benefiting because we get a lot more, I guess, like businesses here, different kind of foods or whatever, but we're also outsourcing a lot of jobs, so we don't have as many jobs.
So it's not, you don't win everything. Sometimes you win and lose at the same time. Yeah. But don't you think everyone kind of benefits because of this increase in technology, and everyone's kind of benefiting from new health innovation and all these new stuff? Does it think everyone benefits from that? Maybe.
You guys are never this quiet.
So the big one with like the labor exploitation, do you feel there's like a moral issue here? I mean, pretty much everyone in this room owns something that was made in China, and it's pretty much a guarantee that that was made by an employee who was not getting a minimum wage or fair hours or fair treatment. You guys feel like America has a responsibility to do something about that? What do you think they should do, or why do you think they should do that?
So like Apple in California, they have laborers. They're forced to work over 100 hours every month, overtime. outstanding and they only get $200 per month, I guess. And Apple should take charge and like do something about it.
So you believe it's the companies that have a responsibility?
Yes.
Okay. Well, what about the individual? What about all of us in this room? Do you guys feel like you could do something to change that?
I don't think that could affect an entire worldwide country.
Yeah. One of the issues with globalization is it's kind of hard to really affect it because it's so big. And it's really hard to like stop buying stuff that's made in China. Everything's made in China. Especially, you know, technology and the stuff we rely on is basically made in China. So do you think globalization can go too far? I mean, should we be trying to restrict it at all? You look in China, they kind of restrict your internet use. So Chinese don't even know, you know, a lot about their own history, because that's kind of limited. Do you feel like America should kind of, you know, hold back a little bit, not allow for so much?
I think we should, cause like, to keep the cultures
You went back.
for everyone.
Jake, you went back here.
I'm sorry, what was
To
that?
like keep like the same cultures in the countries, like hold back some, so like they can like not be like too overpowered by us.
We should hold back from destroying other cultures.
Yeah.
But what, don't you think America benefits from our diverse culture?
Well, yeah, I meant like smaller countries and stuff. We shouldn't like overpower things.
Wouldn't they also benefit from diversity?
Yeah, but like to keep it like culture, like how they do things, like, you know.
Maybe not dictate stuff to other countries. Anybody else?
I feel that it's mostly beneficial, but the environment, maybe something could be done about that because it just keeps growing
Yeah.
and it does what's good to the global environment.
Could environmental issues be solved through globalization, like the UN? Or like if all the countries in Europe did something to help the environment, wouldn't that put a lot of pressure on, say, America or China? So it's kind of weird how globalization can cause so many problems, but also be the solution to them. And the last one, kind of to go along with your project, you guys are a president or you're a congressman or congresswoman. What kind of policy would you guys create for sort of any sort of global controversy? You guys have any? What kind of policies do you guys have for your project right now?
I hope you have some.
No? No ideas?
What policy that they can come up with is if they're gonna give a job to another country, like they have to pay their employees at least minimum wage or more.
Yeah. So one of the problems with that, as we see with like China, is that America cannot, you know, tell China what their minimum wage should be. But if they're American companies, maybe try and do something to force their hand. Yeah. Is anybody looking at immigration? And what sort of policy do you have for immigration?
I use, because that's like the demand, but as far as people who are already here not being kicked out, I also think that they should have like stronger boundaries on it, so that immigration, especially to America, doesn't get too much.
Okay. So yeah, there's an example of trying to restrict sort of the spread of globalism, right? They're already here, it's okay, but don't. Trying to restrict immigrants. Okay. Wasn't there a topic on Russia? Aren't you guys dealing with foreign policy with Russia?
Did we have anybody in this group that did it?
What kind of policies do you guys have?
Over Russian political corruption, but I really don't think that we can change much with that, because they're Russia, and they're kind of their own deal. I don't think there's many Americans there that can really change much.
What about through the UN? Could we try and come up with a policy through the UN?
Good, I guess. Think about that.
Try and, I don't know, push for more oversight in elections or something.
Yes.
Well, I hope this just gave you guys some ideas for your project. You know, I realize that this is a really big topic and it's kind of hard to grasp all the different parts of it, but pretty much every sort of global controversy can be fit into globalization. And, you know, there aren't any simple answers with it. It's it's something that's here. It's not something most people don't want to get rid of it. They just kind of want to make sure it, you know, helps those who need to be helped, and that's about it. You guys have any questions for me? Thanks.